My name is Eliana Reyes. I'm 34, and I've always been the quiet one in a house that never seemed to stop buzzing. Growing up in a cozy Atlanta suburb, our home was a whirlwind of noise. My sister Isabella's laughter, her pop playlist blaring, and my parents' endless chatter about her latest TikTok dance or shopping haul. Me? I was the odd one out, tucked in a corner with a book or scribbling math problems, dreaming of a life I could build on my own. Isabella was the sun in our family's orbit, all sparkles and charm, while I was the moon, steady but barely noticed. From as far back as I can remember, I was the serious sister, the one with a plan. When I was 12, I started babysitting neighborhood kids, stashing every dollar in a shoebox under my bed. By high school, I was tutoring classmates in algebra, adding to my savings for something big, a laptop to help me study for college. I'd spend hours researching the best models, picturing how it would feel to have something entirely myself. Isabella, though, was the opposite. She'd twirl through the house in her latest fast fashion outfit, begging my parents for the newest iPhone because everyone at school has it. And just like that, it'd show up, no questions asked. My mom would beam, saying, "Oh, sweetie, you deserve it." My dad would nod, handing over his credit card like it was nothing. Birthdays made our differences crystal clear. Isabella would rip through her gifts, squealing over glittery earrings or a designer purse, while I'd carefully tuck away any cash I got, mentally adding it to my laptop fund. One year, my dad noticed my growing stack of bills and chuckled. "What's the plan this time, Eliana?" There was a flicker of pride in his voice, but his eyes said he didn't quite get me. "A laptop," I said, explaining how the library computers were always packed. He nodded, but the conversation shifted when Isabella burst in with a story about her cheer squad's latest drama. My moment faded as usual. It wasn't that my parents didn't love me. I knew they did in their way. But Isabella was their golden girl, the one who lit up their social circle with her charm. My mom, a real estate agent, and my dad, a car salesman, cared about how we looked to the neighbors. Isabella's Instagram posts with thousands of likes were their bragging rights at community barbecues. Me, with my practical ponytail and thrifted jeans, didn't fit their image of success. I learned early to rely on myself, finding peace in the quiet of the local library where I could study without Isabella's music drowning me out. By high school, I was laser-focused on college. I spent nights perfecting essays, applying for scholarships, and acing standardized tests. When I got into Georgia Tech with a full ride, I ran into the living room, waving the acceptance letter. "Mom, Dad, I did it," I shouted, my heart pounding with joy. My mom glanced up from helping Isabella with the selfie pose. "That's nice, Eliana," she said, barely looking at me. "Isabella, tilt your head a bit." "Perfect." My dad peeked over his phone, scrolling through car listings. "Good job, kid. We knew you'd pull it off." Their words were kind, but their indifference stung. I clutched the letter and retreated to my room, promising myself this was just the start. Meanwhile, Isabella barely scraped through high school. When she brought home a report card full of C's, I braced for my parents' disappointment. Instead, my mom hugged her, saying, "Sweetie, grades aren't everything. You've got charm." My dad chimed in, "You'll find your path, princess." I couldn't believe it. "Are you serious?" I blurted. "She barely passed." My mom's eyes narrowed. "Eliana, don't be harsh. Your sister's special in her own way." I bit my lip and walked away, the unfairness burning in my chest. It was clear, no matter what I did, Isabella would always be their star. College was my escape. At Georgia Tech, I was surrounded by people who valued hard work as much as I did. I threw myself into my computer science classes, staying up late to debug code or perfect group projects. The campus, with its buzzing coffee shops and sleek tech labs, felt like a world where I belonged. When I graduated with honors, I landed a job at a fast-growing tech startup in downtown Atlanta. The day I signed the offer letter, I felt like I could finally breathe. I was building the life I'd always wanted. Moving into my own condo in Midtown was a milestone I'll never forget. It wasn't fancy, Just a one-bedroom with big windows and a view of the city skyline, but it was mine. Paid for with my savings and a company discount program for top employees. I'd walk through the empty rooms, picturing how I'd make it my own. A cozy reading nook here, a desk for late-night work there. I called my parents to share the news, hoping they'd be proud. My mom answered, her voice distracted. "That's great, Eliana." "Oh, hold on. Isabella just posted the cutest reel from her mall trip." She launched into a story about Isabella's latest brand deal, and my condo faded into the background. I hung up. My excitement dimmed, but not gone. If they couldn't see me, I'd keep pushing forward. Work became my focus. The startup was intense, with deadlines that kept me up past midnight. But I loved the challenge. I poured my heart into every project, earning praise from my boss, Mr. Hughes. Within a year, I was promoted to project manager, leading a team of engineers. I called home, eager to share. "Mom, I got promoted," I said, my voice bright. She paused, then said, "That's nice, dear. Did you hear Isabella's working with a makeup brand now? They're flying her to Miami." My dad jumped in. "Yeah, she's killing it." I swallowed the hurt, forcing a smile they couldn't see. "That's great," I said, hanging up. Their dismissal lit a fire in me. If they wouldn't celebrate me, I'd make my own victories impossible to ignore. Isabella, meanwhile, was living a different life. She dropped out of her online beauty course, claiming it was too boring, and spent her days chasing influencer gigs, unboxing hauls, posting selfies, or begging my parents for cash to keep up with trends. My parents ate it up, bragging about her at their country club mixers. "Our Isabella's practically famous," my mom would say, showing off her latest post. I'd hear about it secondhand from cousins. Each story a reminder of how little my parents valued my path. But I kept going, saving every bonus, furnishing my condo piece by piece, turning it into a home that screamed me. Clean lines, warm colors, and bookshelves stuffed with novels and tech manuals. One evening, I decided to celebrate. I'd been eyeing a reliable SUV for months, perfect for Atlanta's sprawling suburbs and my weekend hikes in the North Georgia mountains. When I drove it home, a practical but sleek model I'd paid for in cash, I felt unstoppable. I hadn't planned to tell my family, but word got around. Isabella called, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Eliana, I heard about your little car."
"Cute," she said.
The word sharp. "You know you're working so hard for what?" "I could teach you a thing or two about living smarter, not harder. Find a guy who's got it made, Eliana. Why grind when you can shine?" I hung up, her words echoing. We were worlds apart, and I was done trying to bridge the gap. Isabella's life was a highlight reel, at least on the surface. While I was grinding at the startup, she was chasing clout, hopping from one sponsored post to another. My parents funded her every whim. New outfits, professional photo shoots, even a trip to Coachella for networking. When she barely graduated high school, they threw her a party, like she'd won a Nobel Prize. I'd watch from the sidelines, wondering why my straight-A report cards never got the same fanfare. But that was Isabella. Always the star of the show, with my parents as her biggest fans. Then came Mr. Brooks. He was a Buckhead trust fund kid, all charm and money. The kind of guy who owned half the city's skyline through his family's real estate empire. Isabella met him at some glitzy Atlanta gala, and within months, they were engaged. My parents were over the moon, acting like they'd won the lottery. "He's from such a good family." My mom gushed at a neighborhood barbecue, while my dad bragged about Mr. Brooks' Porsche collection. I sat through their stories, sipping sweet tea, and feeling like a guest at my own family's table. Isabella's wedding was a spectacle. Think Southern glamour with a price tag to match. She floated down the aisle in a custom gown, and my parents beamed like they'd orchestrated the whole thing. I stood in the crowd, my simple dress feeling out of place, wondering if they'd ever looked at me with that kind of pride. I threw a condo warming party to celebrate my new place, hoping to share my world with my family. I spent days setting up string lights, a playlist of Atlanta hip-hop, and budget-friendly decor that still felt like me. My coworkers, Marcus and Lila, arrived first, bringing wine and warm hugs, raving about my view of the Peachtree skyline. Then my family showed up. Isabella swept in, her designer heels clicking, scanning my place with a smirk. "Cute for now," she said, eyeing my thrift store couch. My parents followed, barely glancing around before launching into Isabella's latest influencer deal. When Marcus tried to toast my promotion, my mom cut him off. "Oh, that reminds me. Isabella's shooting a campaign with a jewelry brand." My dad nodded, adding, "She's got star quality, that one." I caught Lila's raised eyebrow, her face saying what I couldn't. "This is messed up." I forced a laugh, but inside I wanted to disappear. Things got worse when Mr. Brooks left Isabella. She called me one afternoon, her voice shaky, but still dramatic. He said I'm too shallow, Eliana. Can you believe it? I could, but I didn't say that. She moved back home, and my parents turned their house into her personal recovery spa. Isabella's tantrums were legendary. Screaming fits, smashed vases, demands for new Gucci bags to feel better. My mom would call me, gushing about Isabella's resilience, while I was juggling deadlines as the youngest department lead at the startup. I'd landed a major client, but when I mentioned it, my dad said, "That's nice, Eliana, but Isabella's going through so much. Be a good sister, okay?" Then came the cruise. My company ran a contest, and I won an all-expenses-paid, 5-month trip around the world. I was floored, picturing myself exploring places I'd only read about. I called my parents, hoping to share the joy. "Mom, Dad, I want a global cruise," I said, my voice bubbling. Silence. Then my mom's voice, sharp as a knife. "Eliana, how can you think about vacations when Isabella's heartbroken? You should give her the ticket. She needs this." I froze, my heart sinking. "I earned this," I said, my voice trembling. My dad jumped in. "Don't be selfish, Eliana. Family comes first." I hung up, their words ringing in my ears. For once, I wasn't giving in. I was going. The cruise was a dream. I wandered through vibrant markets in Cape Town, watched sunsets over the Amalfi Coast, and hiked through New Zealand's lush forests. For 5 months, I wasn't the overlooked sister or the workaholic. I was just Eliana, soaking in the world. I laughed with strangers, tried foods I couldn't pronounce, and felt a freedom I'd never known. But reality was waiting. When the ship docked back in Savannah, I turned on my phone, expecting a flood of messages. There were only a few missed calls from my parents, nothing from Isabella. I drove home to Atlanta, feeling lighter but braced for whatever came next. When I unlocked my condo door, my heart stopped. Isabella was sprawled on my couch, surrounded by shopping bags and takeout boxes like she owned the place. "Isabella, what the hell?" I stammered, my keys still in my hand. She barely looked up, flipping through her phone. "Oh, you're back. I needed a break from Mom and Dad's place. Too much drama." My stomach churned. How did you get in?" She rolled her eyes. "Your spare key, duh. Mom gave it to me." I stood there speechless. My sanctuary violated. I needed to clear my head. "I'm going to the store," I muttered, grabbing my car keys. In the parking lot, my SUV was gone. Panic hit me like a wave. I called my mom, my hands shaking. "Where's my car?" I demanded. She laughed like it was a joke. "Oh, Eliana. We sold it. Isabella needed cheering up, so we took her shopping and to a spa." My dad got on the line, his voice cold. "It's family, Eliana. What's yours is ours." I felt the world tilt. That was my car. I yelled. "I paid for it." My mom's tone turned sharp. "Don't be so selfish. Isabella's been through enough." Years of anger boiled over. "Selfish? You stole my car, invaded my home, and I'm selfish." I demanded the money back. They laughed, called me ungrateful, and hung up. Back inside, Isabella was still lounging, oblivious. "Get out," I said, my voice low but steady. She blinked, shocked. "What? Get out now." She tried her usual tears, her pouty apologies, but I was done. I pointed to the door and she left, muttering about how uptight I was. The next day, I called a lawyer. My parents had crossed a line, and I wasn't letting it slide. I sued them for the value of my car, laying out years of their favoritism and manipulation in court. They fought back, painting me as the villain, but the judge saw through it. I won. They had to sell their sprawling suburban house to pay me back, moving into a cramped apartment. The neighborhood gossip mill churned, but I didn't care. Their words couldn't touch me anymore. Cutting off my family was the hardest thing I've ever done. The first few months were lonely, the silence heavy where their calls used to be. But with that silence came clarity. I saw how their favoritism had shaped me, pushing me to prove my worth, but also weighing me down. I was done carrying that burden. I threw myself into work, leading bigger projects at the startup, earning respect from colleagues like Marcus and Lila, who became my chosen family. We'd grab drinks at a midtown bar, laughing over shared dreams and bad code, their support filling the void my family left. I started exploring life outside work. I took pottery classes, shaping clay into wonky bowls that made me laugh. I hiked the Appalachian Trail, feeling stronger with every step. I traveled on weekend trips to Charleston, a solo adventure to Seattle, finding joy in moments that were mine alone. My condo became my haven, filled with plants and books, a testament to the life I'd built. I bought a new SUV, sleeker than the last, and every time I drove it, I felt a rush of pride. This was mine, earned by me, for me. Now, sitting in my office with a view of Atlanta's twinkling skyline, I feel at peace. My path wasn't easy. Years of being overlooked, of fighting for scraps of approval, shaped me into someone who knows her worth. I don't need my parents' praise or Isabella's spotlight. I've built a life I love, step by step, choice by choice. There are still moments when I miss the idea of family, but I found something better, myself. To everyone who's followed this journey, thank you. You've walked with me through pain, betrayal, and hard-won triumphs. If my story hit home, if it made you cheer or cry, hit that subscribe button and join us. Every choice you make, every step you take, is a chance to build your own path. Keep chasing your truth, and I'll meet you at the finish line.